not going to give myself all the credit, but I did think this situation would happen just a few days ago when I did my recording on our transfer targets. And yeah, fair enough. I think quite a few people have kind of put our sort of name in the ring with this player. But yeah, Timo Werner, supposedly West Ham are interested in a loan deal for the player. Not really asking too much of a permanent at the moment, but suppose we are interested in a loan move come the January transfer window. And of course, I did think this would be the case. I thought that we would go in for someone like him. I think as well, Dominic Solanke, I'm not going to focus too much on him in this video. I think Mark should be covering him very soon. But there are links with him getting linked with us for about £30 million, £40 million. I can imagine the fee going up this season, to be fair, with the way he's scoring for Bournemouth. But yeah, Timo Werner is linked with West Ham for a loan move. As I covered in that video, I'm just not convinced. I'm really not. I think he's a player that needs space in front of him. He's a player that you need to be able to feed the ball into and him run onto it. And, you know, I think a lot of players who are like that are quite competent in front of goal and are quite good at slotting the ball away. But with him, I'm not even sure he's got that consistency about him. You know, I really, with Timo Werner, I think he's had a good goal and scoring record in Germany. It's been really, really, really good. But as far as his Premier League record is concerned, it's really not great. I mean, you know, he's 27 years of age. And to be fair, right, you know, maybe I've been a bit harsh. A loan move isn't terrible because at the end of the day, if he works out, he works out. If he doesn't, he doesn't. We've only got to cover, you know, some of his wages. I'm not entirely sure what his wages are at the moment, but I can't imagine he's on crazy, crazy money. His contract expires in 2026, so he's got plenty of time to go back there. And yeah, he scored 2 goals this season in 8 appearances, which again isn't great. Started 18% of games, 27% of goal participation. Like I said, it's not really great. I don't think he's too involved in the German national team at the moment either, really. I haven't really seen much of him being involved in the German national team. Whether he does end up getting more involved, I mean, you know, maybe we'll see. But his Premier League record, like I said, is not great. I'm just going to put it up here. So yeah, for Chelsea, he scored 23 goals in 90 appearances. So that's probably what, a good 3 seasons, and he scored roughly about 8 goals a season, roughly. Literally just less than that. There's what, 38 games in the season, 89. So yeah, probably about 2.5 seasons. He averages about 8 goals a season. 21 assists, interestingly. Almost as many assists as he's got goals for Chelsea, which is, like I say, quite interesting. For Leipzig, 113 goals in 212 appearances. Not bad, you know. I wouldn't say it's awful. Actually, to be fair, looking at this, that's his stats entirely for Chelsea. In the Premier League, he's had 10 goals in 56 appearances. So, again, that's probably just 1.5 seasons, and he's averaging 5 goals a season. So, you know, is this a player we really want to be taking a punt on? I think, to be honest, for me, right, I think in January, unless nobody else is really presenting themselves to us, I think we have to just go all out and go for a permanent move. I think, like you said, you've got Dominic Solanke, you've got Armando Broja, you know, you've got we did the video on him soon, didn't we? Boniface, and Guirassy. You know, all of those are kind of our main striker. I think the 4 of those are quite good strikers. Guirassy, for me, is kind of a bit of a panic buy. Like, he scored a lot of goals in Bundesliga, but, you know, he's not a player I think that's going to play consistently for us. Boniface, like I said, is a top striker, but I can see him going to an Arsenal or a Newcastle. You know, I doubt we're going to be able to get his signature. Solanke and Broja, for me, definitely what who should be going for. Solanke, I think, is a good physical striker, can run in behind. He's good with the ball to his back as well. Broja, very similar player as well, and somebody that Moyes has basically admitted is like his number 1 target. David Moyes has never actually gotten his, you know, number 1 striker. Scamacca, I think, wasn't his number 1 choice. Broja at the time definitely was, but of course we were pushing kind of for a younger team. And I think that Chelsea were asking a lot of money for what the player was, and also they just come back from an injury. and also they weren't actually sure they wanted to sell him. So there's a lot of things that came into context, with that deal. And now, of course, we're looking at Timo Werner. The two players that I've listed, Solanke and Broja, that I think would fit West Ham perfectly. Werner, for me, is the opposite of that. He's not clinical enough. Maybe as a left winger, he'd actually find quite a lot of joy, but I don't think he'd suit our style of left winger. I think if he goes to a Newcastle on a loan deal, I actually think he'd probably do all right. Newcastle play quite well in behind. The thing for me with Werner is he's not clinical enough, and he needs space to run into, and we can't as a team orchestrate that space. And also, we're just not good enough on the counter. We try and be a counter-attacking team, but we're just simply not good enough on the counter. So as much as I think Timo Werner, no one should be turning their nose up at him. Like, he's a great player, and I think that at another Premier League club, he could actually score maybe 15 goals a season. I generally do think that. I think at the right club, maybe like at a Liverpool or a Newcastle, or maybe even the way Arsenal are playing at the moment, where they can feed the ball into their strikers at the feet. And obviously, I think Werner and Jesus are kind of similar players, but Jesus is a lot better on the ball. Sorry. So yeah, I think he could do very well, and I wouldn't turn my nose up at him. And a loan move again is not something that I'd be too opposed to. But I think in January, when we've got players like Solanke, who, let's be honest, he's going to be tough to get because it's the middle of the season. Bournemouth won't have a lot of time to find a replacement. Someone like Broja, I think, is more realistic. But then again, you've only really got... I mean, Nkunku might be back by January, but potentially. So they've got Nkunku and they've got Jackson, at striker. So third choice, it'd be first choice really at West Ham. I could see that potentially happening. If we can't get a good permanent striker, then I wouldn't mind Timo Werner on a loan deal, I guess. But I think we have to go for a permanent deal in January for a striker. Listen, between you and me, I know we won't do it. I know it's not going to happen. But, I think we probably will go in for Timo Werner on a loan deal. And let's be fair, probably won't be the worst deal in the world. He comes and plays for West Ham. Be interesting. It'd be new. I'd rather see him play than Danny Ings at the moment. So, but then I think, why would we get him on a loan deal and not just play Mabama and give him a shot? Because they're kind of similar players in their play styles. And of course, Bowen potentially is getting moved to this striker role. Antonio should be back as well by January, I would have thought. So I just don't think the loan move makes too much sense. Of course, there's not been too much concrete evidence from the club actually going to put a loan move in. It's not really been mentioned too much by X either, but he is a player that we're interested in. I just hope that we do move for someone a little bit more suited to our style, a Broja, a Solanke, a Boniface. I do hope that we are going for players like that instead. But, like I said, Timo Werner, I wouldn't hate it. It wouldn't be the worst transfer move in the world, but I just don't think he suits our play style. And I think we've got other options that we really should be exploring in January.